Hello, everybody. How are you? And welcome to Spiritually Raw. And as always, thank you so much for your energy exchange with us today. And we hope you woke to the most miracle morning. And we're also having the most fortunate day today. We have Hawley Martin here with us today. So check this out. He is the best-selling author of The Secret of Life, an adventure out of body into mind. So we're going to be learning about Stephen's journey in his life and how it can, quite frankly, help you in your life. So all of his links will be in the description below as April fixes my necklace here. But all of that's why I pre-record, right? But anyway, all the links will be in this description below, so you can find out more about Stephen's works. And also, thanks for staying connected with us as you always do. Remember, you can always watch this on Roku TV and also download us on the app here too.
And if you haven't already, please do check us out on Telegram. That's where we post all of our shows, and that's where we communicate with everybody the most. So if you haven't, click the link below. And if you could quickly take a second from wherever you're watching this show, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and all three of us would greatly appreciate it if you share the video.
And if for all of you entrepreneurs out there, a little bit more about Stephen, and I'm fascinated by this, a former principal of the advertising agency that created the GEICO Gecko. And Virginia is for lovers. That's pretty cool. All right, so welcome and thank you, my brother, for bringing on your energy with us today. And it's nice to meet your spirit. How are you?
Well, I'm delighted to be here, Jay and April. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. So you're also a podcast host, and you've interviewed a whole lot of people, including psychics, near-death survivors, paranormal, quantum physicists, and doctors. And you believe that humankind is on the cusp of a new transition, which is understanding the true nature of reality. And I couldn't agree anymore with that one.
Oh, good. Yeah, I do believe that.
What do you think that, so the true nature of reality, can you help us, let's break that down if we can from your perspective, Stephen, and what you've learned. True nature of reality that we're on the cusp of, what are you seeing for us that we're going to be, that true nature that's going to be unveiling for us?
Yeah, for the last, I would say 150 or more years, we've lived in at a time when most people thought that there was the only thing that existed, at least well-educated people thought that the only thing that exists is material substance, matter. It really started back in the 19th century with Darwin, and of course even really before that, if you trace it back to the Age of Enlightenment. But the fact of the matter is that that's not so. And in my books, I give a great deal of evidence, scientific evidence, that disproves the theory that all that exists is matter. In fact, my belief is, and I think what we're moving toward, is the belief that really the basis of reality, the ground of being, first is energy, which is what any quantum physicist will tell you, of course, E equals mc squared. But from that comes consciousness, and that consciousness is, in fact, what everything is, and that consciousness creates what we see as matter. But really, in fact, what we see isn't really what is there. You know, what a quantum physicist will tell you, that everything is energy, it's all vibrations, and that none of us have ever really experienced what we think of as matter firsthand. We only experience through our senses. And so really it is our consciousness, and the one consciousness that we all share, that's creating the reality that we think we're in. And it's really kind of an illusion, because in fact we're all one when you boil down to it. Each of us, of course, has our own ego and our own conscious mind, but when you go deep into your own mind, you'll find that eventually everything is connected, and that we have a subconscious mind and eventually a collective consciousness with all that is. And that's pretty much what Carl Jung was saying when he talked about the collective consciousness. So there you go. That's what we're moving toward, I believe. What is your thinking about that?
Well, I wanted to ask you real quick. It's a hard concept for a lot of people to wrap their mind around when they say we're living in an illusion.
Yeah.
So how would you help people to better understand that philosophy?
Well, the fact of the matter is, we are all spiritual beings. And, you know, this is become a cliche. It's said so often, but we're eternal spiritual beings who are having a temporary physical experience. And we come into this reality in order to experience the illusion of separateness. When we're on the other side, before we're born and after we die, we come from there into physical bodies that I kind of compare to diving suits, you know, to go under the water in back in the old days when people wore diving suits. We come into these physical bodies in order to experience this reality that causes us to think we're separate beings. And while we're here, we think we're separate, and from that illusion, we learn things. And basically what we're learning and growing toward is love, that in fact, we're all one. And whatever we do to others, we're really doing to ourselves. And of course, people call that karma because it comes back to bite you. But that karma really is a learning mechanism. It's like we're in a school or a university where we're learning what works and what doesn't work, and eventually we're learning to love our neighbors, which is, of course, what Jesus' message was. And I think he was right on with that. So it is, you know, in the East, in the Hindu cultures and the Buddhist cultures, they call it Maya. Maya is the illusion of separateness, the illusion created by this reality that we're all separate. But quantum physicists will tell you that there really is only are only vibrations. All of us are connected. All of us are one part of one organic whole in terms of quantum physics. It just looks like you're over there and I'm over here.
But we're all kind of doing the same thing. You know, I want to answer your question. You asked me, you said, what did you think? Or asked us, you said, what did you think about it? I do. As time goes on and more interviews go on, I start to really embrace the idea of a real collective consciousness and how our thoughts and how we affect someone else's day or anything really does have a pretty quick instant karma effect, if you want to call it. Because essentially it seems like it's doing it to yourself. I feel life is better when we look at things, you know, like, hey, you know what, it's just another girl or guy just trying to get through the journey in life, right? Just give them a break and help them through in that perspective. And I don't know, that's kind of what I've been working on myself and really kind of trying to embrace that thoughts. And so anyway, I just want to answer your question because I didn't want to leave that hanging. But I'm pretty fascinated from the people that you've interviewed, you know. Did you find a common theme with them, like the psychics, the other things that we're telling? Did you feel like, okay, these are some of the things from what you've learned, like, okay, where there's a lot of messengers out there, we understand that, you know, we're all trying to draw somewhat of a conclusion to some degree. Was there a lot of red alerts for you, or like, hey, you got to watch out for this kind of messages because this can take us down some really nefarious, dark places, and it never ends well?
Well, I guess the thing that really pops into my mind when you're asking that question, Jay, is what a philosopher from the, I think, 19th century, Arthur Schopenhauer, is a German, but he said that that when you get to a certain age, and I'm not a young guy anymore, I'm probably a lot older than I look, and I'm at that age. When you look back at your life, you see that things happened in a kind of pattern. Things that you thought were just by chance or happenstance come together to form a kind of story. It's almost like you've lived a novel where you met certain people at certain times just when you needed to hear the message they had to give you, or you had a difficulty because and it turned, even though you went through it, it was horrible when it happened. When you came out on the other side, you realized that you had learned something from it. You've grown as a result of it. And he said it's like there's one giant dreamer having a dream in which each of the characters within the dream are having their own dream. And that's what I've kind of come to, the way I've come to view our reality, is that we're, you know, when if you have dreams, and I don't have them very often that I remember, but when I do, sometimes they're very vivid, well, almost what you would call lucid dreams, and they're very real. It's like, and there are characters in the dream besides me, but I am viewing everything that's happening in my dream from my perspective.
Mhm.
And yet other characters in the dream are responding to me and what I say and so on. So it's not a great leap for me to project that onto the one consciousness, the source, God, whatever you want to, whatever terminology you want to use, having this dream that we're all part of. And that's how things work out, because the goal is growth, is higher consciousness. We're all evolving toward higher consciousness. If you look at life in general, you know, the birds and the bees and the squirrels and the deer and everything is evolving, it's growing. You know, that's evolution. If you look at the course of Earth from, you know, the one-celled animal to human beings, we've been evolving. Life is, the secret of life, I think, is the urge to become, and that's what's happening to us. That's why we're here. We're here to evolve. So there you go. That's kind of expanding on what I said before, but I hope that that gives you a little more of an idea where I'm coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. You hear a lot of people talking about this matrix, that we live in a matrix. It's a dark matrix. It's a fake matrix. It's a illusion. It's
Self-imposed.
It's self-imposed. The reptilians put it here. What is your version of the matrix, and is it even relevant in your life?
Well, I understand. In fact, I have one of my books addresses this very topic, because, you know, who is it? Elon Musk, and then there's another guy, Bostic, I think his name is, who believe that we're in a matrix, like that movie, where it's all an illusion. And it's very easy to see how someone who is coming from the materialistic point of view, who believes that all that exists is matter, is going to come to that conclusion, because it's very similar to what I've been talking about, where we're actually in a dream that the source is having, and things happen to us that when we look back on them, were, you know, kind of meant to be. So it does look like that. If you don't believe in God, if you're an atheist, you would have to come to the conclusion that we are living in a matrix, in a computer program or something like that some advanced civilization has created and is you know, playing this trick on us because they want to see what'll happen, you know. But that's not, I don't think that's what it is. I think it's simply,
You don't see it that way.
That's interesting.
I don't see it that way. It appears that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are all part of this dream that the source is having, and we are actually little atoms of the source. Our consciousness and the source's consciousness are one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about, when you step back, have you ever sort of tried to step back and look at your own life, you know, like you're looking from over your shoulder, or even observe your own thoughts as they come through your head? They're not really your thoughts. You are that silent observer, and that silent observer is the one consciousness that we all share. And so I can certainly see how a scientific materialist would come to the conclusion that we're living in a computer program.
What about all the psychics and the mediums and the spiritualists that also talk about, you know, they have some degree of faith, I would say. What would you say to them? And when they talk about, hey, we need to break out of the matrix per se, are they using
And
the
the
word?
reptilians put it here.
But are they using the word matrix? But are they not necessarily interpreting it differently? Are they trying to do? Do they have a different definition for it? Is what I should say.
I would think they must, because basically, you know, I was about 35 years old, I think. And this was, I started on this journey. I had a very brief out-of-body experience, a near-death experience when I was in my mid-20s. And before that, I was a scientific materialist. I grew up in a home, very scientific home, who you know, thought that matter is all there is. You know, that's really what we're taught in school. in science. And that's where I was coming from until I looked down at my body on the bed and thought, that's my body down there and I'm up here. Guess what? I'm not my body. I'm my consciousness. And that started me on this journey. And I joined the Rosicrucian Society, which is a society of mystics that study metaphysical laws. I went through all their courses. I became an adept. And then at about age 35, say 10 years later, I was I was in my backyard. Life was good. It was a beautiful day, maybe late April, May kind of day, perfect temperature, blue sky. As I said, life was good. I got a good job, married, had a child. And I was meditating on a lounge chair in my backyard, and I suddenly saw auras around the trees and the flowers, and I kind of went into this, what I call the infinite mind. I became one with it and I don't know how long it lasted, but whatever I thought about at that time, it's like I knew the answers to it. It's like I was calling up something I already knew. And that lasted for, I don't know how long. It could have been 30 seconds. It could have been 10 minutes. But when I came out of it, I brought some of that knowledge with me. And that really changed me. But what it told me, and my point in saying this, is that we are all connected to one mind. So when a psychic sees things, they're accessing this, what some people would call the Akashic records, that contain everything, all the memories of everybody who's ever lived. And so psychics really do. And there's someone I interviewed on my podcast who has been studying that, and she has written. She's a PhD. She's written papers that have been published, peer-reviewed kind of papers on studying psychics, and they are able to retrieve information about people that could not be known any other way. So
where do you think they're getting that? Where do you think they're tapping from your?
He's saying the Akashic records.
No, I know where, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, how do you think? I guess my better question was how. So pragmatically speaking, how do you think they're tapping that? They're actually getting there and able to retrieve this information. I mean, is it inherently something that, they always say, again, a cliche, if you would, is it like everybody's got the gift and you just got to work on it? Or are there real people that have been, or parts of the source, if you would, that have come here to actually function as a legitimate oracle, if you would?
But if you're looking for that instant gratification for your skin, like if you're like, you're looking in the mirror and you're like, geez, I just wish I could just go a little bit tighter, a little lift every day. This is a little this is it. I said the other day, it's like everybody loves to have a great hair day, but how about having a great face day?